Hi you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you what I spend in a week living in South Korea, and I'm going to be sharing my cost of living. I have wanted to do this video for such a long time, but I've always hesitated because I spend a different amount of money every week. I don't have a fixed budget, which means my spending just differs based on what I'm doing every week. So in today's video, I'm just gonna share with you what I spent last week. I was home for half the week and I was traveling for half the week. So it was a week that my expenditures were a little bit higher because I was traveling. But if you wanna see more videos like this, just let me know. I actually had a lot of fun tracking my spending, and it's kind of helped me gauge what I need to save on in the future, and I'm getting a lot more into budgeting now. I've never been someone that has had a budget, but I've been doing so much research on how much it can help you save and just be more responsible with your money. So if you guys have any budgeting advice, leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you guys are new to my channel, just a little bit of background. My name is Adrienne. I'm 25 years old, and 3 years ago this week, I can't believe it's been 3 years, I moved to South Korea. So that is where I live. All of this was obviously spent in won, but I'm going to be sharing it in US dollars because I think a lot more of you guys are familiar with USD, and that is based on the current exchange rate, which is obviously always changing. But yeah, I just wanted to put all that out there. All right, so starting off, I have my notes right here, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to share with you my fixed expenditures for every month. In my opinion, my cost of living, like my fixed cost of living, is actually super cheap. So my monthly rent is $411.39. I live alone in just a small studio, but it's actually a really good location. It's like right on the beach. My health insurance is $97.24. And the co-pays with that is like really cheap, so not too bad. And then my Wi-Fi is $22.44. My cell phone bill is $29.92. I have Amazon Prime, $14.99. I have like Apple subscriptions, which I really need to go through, but this month I spent $30.08 on that. And then I have a subscription to a music, like non-copyrighted music for my YouTube, and that's $14.99. I have Spotify for $10.74. I have Canva for $12.99, PicMonkey for $7.99, and those are my monthly expenditures that I can remember. I don't think I'm missing anything, but yeah, I wanted to mention I don't have a car, so I don't have any kind of like gas budget or car insurance or anything like that, but you will see I spend a lot of money on taxes. And then one other thing I wanted to say is anything that you see in this video that is hotel or like a train or anything like that, that is a tax write-off for me because a lot of my traveling is for business reasons. When it comes time for me to do my taxes, I write that off, which means even though I'm spending it, it's deducted from my taxable income. I'm not gonna get into how all that works because that's a whole long story. If you wanna look it up, you can research tax write-offs, but I do wanna say I write off a lot of my spending if it is in relation to my business. Another thing I want to quickly mention is food. So I eat out a lot in the summer. You guys are gonna see that in this video. And it just makes more sense for my lifestyle in the summer to eat out. And the good thing is I have very cheap options for eating out that I found. So I'm actually not blowing a bunch of money on food, and it makes more sense financially for me to eat out in the summer because what happens is if I grocery shop, this happened a few weeks ago, I'll have a bunch of food in my fridge and I won't eat it because I'll be out and about and I just don't have the chance to eat the food in my fridge. So I do eat out a lot in the summer. I do have cheap options though, and in the winter I do more cooking at home, so that's just something I want to point out. All right, so starting off with Monday morning, I got a coffee that was $1.10. Yeah, there's a lot of really cheap coffee places around where I live, so that's just something I kind of like to splurge on. And then I got Subway for lunch, which was $5.91. Subway is my favorite budget girly food hack. It is fairly healthy. I get tons of veggies in mine, and it's like really cheap, and it always just hits the spot, so I love Subway. And then for dinner, I got samgyetang for dinner, which was $13.46. Kind of regretted getting it. It was not that good, but hey, whatever. That evening, I placed a HelloFresh order for one of my friends. She's going through a bit of a hard time, so I just wanted to do something to help her, so I bought her a HelloFresh subscription, which was $91.80. And then that evening I took a taxi somewhere, which was $11.02. So my total for Monday was $123.29, starting the week out on an expensive note, but a lot of that was like as a gift for somebody else, which I wanted to do in my heart. All right, so since we are on the topic of spending and saving money, I wanted to introduce to you guys the brand that I'm partnering with for this video, which is Willa. So Willa is an app that content creators and freelancers like myself can use to get paid super fast by the brands and companies that we work with. I have been in the freelancing game for about 10 years now, and it has so many perks, but one of the downsides is getting paid on time can be like a huge hassle. I have sometimes not been paid until like 5 months after my work has been finished, which is really, really hard. Using Willa is super quick and simple. Not only does it help you get paid very quickly from the brands you work with, but also it does not require any stressful or complicated paperwork. So you just start by applying for an account on their app, and then once your account is accepted, you can basically submit your first payment request. You will then get paid upfront for qualified payment requests, and Willa will handle all of the paperwork on their side. So you don't have to do any of that. And definitely don't worry, because Willa is 100% safe. They really value cyber safety and all of that, so don't worry, all of your information is very secure with their app. I wish I would have been introduced to this app years ago, because it has made my life so much easier. It's like I have my own little finance department. I'm just a small creator, so I don't have like my own accounting team or anything like that. It's just me. But having Willa has made my life a lot easier. So if you guys are content creators or freelancers and you want to simplify your life, definitely download Willa. I will have their app in the description below. And thank you again, Willa, for partnering with me on this video. All right, moving on to Tuesday. In the morning, I got a latte. It had almond milk, so it's a little more expensive, $3.29. I know coffee is like the dumbest thing to spend your money on all the time, but as someone that works at home, it's just so nice to like go out and get a coffee in the morning. And then for my lunch, I got kimbap, which was $2.20. I'm telling you, it's like so cheap to eat out here. It's so much cheaper and quicker than buying food here, like at the grocery store. And then I went to Cleo's pet hospital, and that is where I buy her food. So I picked up a bag of her food and then her monthly flea medication and also some treats, and that was $65.98. And then that day I ended up booking a studio to work out of. I like to book studios sometimes if I need a really pretty place to shoot for work, and that was $61.68. So my total for Tuesday was $133.15. Kind of the same as Monday, but I will say a lot of that was an investment to my career with the studio, and then also I was spending money on my dog's health, so I don't feel like I wasted any money, honestly. All right, moving on to Wednesday. This was kind of like date night with my boyfriend and I. We've been super busy lately, so we can't spend a lot of time with each other. So what we ended up doing was we went to the grocery store, we bought some steaks and like some side dishes, and that was $32.45. We usually just like alternate who pays, and I was paying on that day. And then that evening we got some dessert from the convenience store. That was $5.62. And I also had to take a taxi to his house, which was $8.38. So my total for Wednesday was $46.45. So that was the cheapest day so far of last week, and it was mostly spent on food, but definitely worth it. A lot cheaper to cook in that night opposed to if we went out to get steaks at a restaurant. All right, so moving on to Thursday. This was the day that I was heading to Seoul, which is when my expenditures definitely started rising throughout the week. So that morning I had to take a taxi back to my house from my boyfriend's. I want to talk about the taxi thing real quick. So Korea has great public transportation. It's literally amazing. However, where I live compared to where he lives, if I took public transportation, it would take about an hour and 20 minutes. But if I just took a taxi, it takes like 15-20 minutes. It's actually crazy. There's no direct route if I take public transportation, so there's a lot of transferring, which is why I take a lot of taxis there and back, just being super transparent. Also, I usually have my dog with me, and I can't really bring her on a bus comfortably, so yeah, I wanted to mention that. I definitely could do it cheaper if I wanted to, but I'm someone who believes like time is money, and I have to save time in those situations. So yeah, the taxi back home was $10.02. And that morning I put her in her pet hotel, which I will pay for later in the week. And then I took a taxi to Seoul Station, which was $9.74. I hopped on the train and I came to Seoul, and that train ticket was $38.75. Then when I got to Seoul, I had to take a taxi to my Airbnb, which was about $10. Didn't get the exact amount, but it was about 10 bucks. And then that evening, I went to 7-Eleven for like a late night snack, and it was $12.35. I had dinner that night, but the company I met with paid for it, which was awesome. So my total for Thursday was $80.86. A lot of those things were business expenses, which I will end up writing off later on my taxes. So honestly, not too shabby. All right, moving on to Friday. This was the day I think I spent a lot of money, unfortunately. First, I got lunch with my friend, and it was my last time seeing her for a while, so I just did decide to pick up the bill because I wanted to be nice, and that was $28.97. I will say, if you're trying to save money, don't pay for friends. Just literally be straight up and tell them you want to do like 50-50. And then I took a taxi to my friend's house. I really should have taken the subway, but I was like, I don't know, I was like so anxious that day. I just wanted to not be around a ton of people, so I didn't opt for public transportation, which I definitely should have, but the taxi was $17.15. Taxis in Seoul are expensive if you're gonna go across Seoul, so just keep that in mind. And then after getting my spray tan from her, I went back to my hotel, and it was $15.25. I booked a new hotel that day. I had stayed in an Airbnb the night before, but the company paid for it. So this next day, Friday, I booked my own hotel, and it was $164.56. That was for 3 days, 2 nights though, which is actually pretty decent. And I was staying in Gangnam, so that's actually not that bad of a price. And then that night I ordered in tacos for dinner, and it was $13.84. So my grand total for Friday was $239.77. That's expensive. That was a lot of money I spent. Moving on to Saturday. This specific day, I went to my friend's wedding. So in the morning, I took a taxi to the wedding. It was $8.01. I ended up going to the ATM, and I pulled out some money to give them as a wedding gift. In Korea, that is kind of the culture or tradition here. If you go to a wedding, you give them money, and I gave them oman won, which is like the standard amount. You can give them more if you want. But that is $37.40. That was my wedding gift to them. And then I took a taxi that evening to Hongdae. We went out. It was $15.18. I was very proud of myself. I only spent $7.55 on drinks. Shout out to myself. I've been drinking so much less lately, and that has helped to save me so much money. Like, when I think about how much money I used to spend on alcohol, like, it's just so crazy. So I was very proud of myself. And then I ended up taking a taxi back to Gangnam, which was $15.03. And then that evening at like 2 a.m. I went to 7-Eleven, and I got some dinner for $4.31. So not bad at all. My total that day was 87 cents and 48 cents, and that was including the wedding gift. So really not that bad. All right, and then Sunday, last day of the week. So starting off for brunch, I got Subway, $4.58. So cheap. And I don't know, I just love my Subway order. I'll put it right here. It's not for everyone. It's very boring. I don't get a bunch of sauce, but it's like my skinny girl Subway order. I love it so much. And then I took the Subway to Seoul Station, which was 93 cents. Subway is in like the, you know, the tram or whatever it's called. And then KTX, I got a train ticket back down to Busan, which was $45.17. Once I got back home, I took a taxi, which was $7.80. And then I ended up taking the taxi later on to go get my dog, and that was $10.65. When I got to the pet sitters, obviously I had to pay them, and it was $79.17. I think I paid for 5 days total. So in my opinion, that's like a really good price, and she is in like heaven when she goes to her pet hotel. It's so much fun. They always send me so many pictures, and I really trust them. And then I took the taxi back home with Cleo, and it was $10.20. So that was my total spending for the day, which came out to $158.50 for the final day. All right, so when I add up all of my daily spending for that week, the total I get is $869.50, which, as I said, there were a lot of random things I had to pay for, like train tickets, hotels. I got that HelloFresh order for my friend. So honestly, it was a pretty expensive week. There were a lot of like random things I had to pay for. So I'm really interested to see, like, if I logged all of my spending for a whole week spent at home, I wonder what the difference would be, because I don't spend that much money at all when I'm just chilling at home. As you notice in this video, I spend a lot of money on taxis, so maybe I could do a challenge if I like don't take any taxis in a week. That is definitely a flaw of mine. I need to get better about saving money on taxis. It just comes down to time management because I'm always running low on time. So I'm like, let me just take a taxi. But I will say in Seoul, it's usually quicker to take the subway. But in Busan, it's usually quicker to take a taxi because Busan is smaller and there's not as many traffic jams here, I've noticed. So that's just something to be aware of. All right, guys, so that wraps it up for my what I spend in a week video. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Where do you think I could save money? How do you think I could save money? Please let me know if you have any budgeting tips because I really want to get into budgeting. Like, I really think it could help me save a lot. And I will say, I have really improved my spending. I know I spent a lot in this video, but this time last year, I was blowing so much unnecessary money on stuff like clothes. Like, clothes used to be my worst flaw. I would go to the department store and drop like 300 bucks in one day on just a bunch of stupid clothes. And I don't remember the last time I did that. Like, I've not been to the department store this whole year, honestly. Last time I bought clothes, I think it was in Hawaii, and I only bought like a couple things. So I'm very proud of myself, learning to celebrate the small things. I would also love to hear you guys' story. Like, are you trying to budget? Have you ever budgeted? Are you trying to save for something specific? Are you a saver? Are you a spender? I definitely used to be a spender and now I'm such a saver. I don't know like what changed in me, like some kind of light bulb just went off. But I'm definitely someone who is trying to save a lot more money nowadays, which is awesome. That's about it. I love you guys and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.